Hey guys, what's up? It's Amber and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. And if you are new here, you should definitely subscribe. Okay, you guys, I have seriously missed you so much. If you guys watch my channel regularly, you would know I haven't uploaded in like a month. I'm so sorry. I have been really sick. I was sick for almost 4 weeks. I'm still sick. I don't know if you can tell, but it is so much better. I have so much energy. I'm able to get out of bed, which is like a huge thing. I was literally on bed rest for the last 3 weeks, but we will get into all of that. I'm gonna do a get ready with me today. I'm gonna catch you guys up on everything you have missed, which isn't much, but I did go through quite a journey figuring out what was wrong with me when I was sick, so we will get into that. Also, my merch is officially out. Check out merchbyamber.com if you guys wanna buy some merch, go check it out. Trust me, I think you'll love it. And we're also gonna be doing shout out of the week real quick, and this week's shout out of the week goes to Pam. She is such a huge supporter of my channel, always commenting, always supporting me, and it just means the world to me. So shout out to you, Pam. This is long overdue. I am gonna be doing a little get ready with me today inspired by Ariana Grande's brand new song with Justin Bieber, which is called Stuck With You. It's a beautiful song that came out last night. All of the proceeds from the music video and from the song in general are gonna be going straight to charity, and I believe it's charities having to do with corona relief. And in the music video, Ariana had the most beautiful makeup and the most beautiful hairdo, so I figured I'd do a little get ready with me today inspired by that. And while I get ready, I'm gonna be catching you guys up on everything. So without further ado, let's get into the makeup. So I'm gonna do the makeup first and then I will get into the hair after. So I'm just gonna tie my hair back for this makeup portion. Where should we even begin? Like, I don't even know where to begin. I guess first, let's begin with Stuck With You, the song, since that's what this video is kind of stemmed from. This music video, oh my God, I passed out last night because of the meds that I'm on. I got really drowsy, so I wasn't able to stay up to see the music video at midnight. But I watched it this morning when I woke up and I could not believe how beautiful it was. Just the fact that it's so interactive with her fans was incredible. I absolutely loved that part. I saw a few people that I knew in the music video, which was so cool. But I love the song. I think that Ariana and Justin's voices sounded so good together. Loved how she had like so many of her friends. There was a bunch of celebrities in it, and I just think it was absolutely adorable. I'm gonna be listening to it for like days straight. I also loved how Ari showed her new boo in it. I don't know if you guys caught that. At the end, she showed her new boo, Dalton. I don't know who he is, like I don't know what he's from, but I just read that his name is Dalton Gomez, and they are, I guess, a thing. I'm so happy for her. I think that it's really good that she kind of kept it a secret, because I think that that's so important when you're in the media, not to keep secrets, but to definitely make sure that you are having a natural relationship with somebody, whether it's a romantic relationship or not. It's just weird when everybody in the world is kind of like criticizing you and scrutinizing you. I just think it's really important to deal with it off camera, not in front of the whole world. I'm just very happy for them. We'll get back to the song a little bit later if I think of anything, but I guess I will just jump right into where I've been. So if you guys follow me on Twitter and Instagram, you might already know a little bit about this, but for those of you who don't know, I will just give you the little rundown. Almost 4 weeks ago, it was around April 16th, April 17th, I woke up and I had swollen lymph nodes or tonsils. Like I couldn't tell what it was, but my neck had these lumps right here that were just protruding. And the first day I was like, okay, this happens when I have allergies. Sometimes they swell up and it goes away in a couple days. So I waited a couple of days, and as the days went on, I noticed that they were extremely painful, especially my right one. It was extremely painful to move my neck, to lay on my neck, to swallow. It was all just like very odd. I could tell it wasn't just allergies. I kept an eye on it, and then over the weekend, I started getting really sick. My first symptoms were nausea. The nausea was like the absolute worst. I could not walk around. I couldn't do really anything. On Sunday, I decided to call a doctor because I was like, you know what, this is just weird. It's just like, I know my body and this is very odd. So when I called this doctor, it was just like whoever was on call at the office that I normally go to. They took down my symptoms and they said that a doctor from urgent care was gonna call me back. So I was like, okay. Like 5 hours go by, it's the afternoon now, and I know that they close in the early evening. So I called back and I'm like, hi. I called earlier and explained all my symptoms, which mind you, at the time I had like 15 different symptoms, and I wrote them all down on my phone because I knew I was going to be talking to a lot of different people. You know how you usually have to tell the nurse and then you have to tell the doctor. So I said, you know, someone said they were going to call me from urgent care. Someone else on the phone decided to ask again, okay, well, what are your symptoms? Let me write them down and we'll have a doctor call you back. And I was like, okay. So I told them again what was wrong. Finally, a doctor called me back, and she kept calling it a sore throat. And I was like, but you don't understand, it's not a sore throat. So they kind of brushed it off. So then I decided the next day to go to urgent care. somewhere and actually like go to a walk-in clinic. So my dad took me, we called first because that's kind of what you got to do now, you got to call first. They did my vitals, they took a swab of my throat, and then they went to go test it and they were like, we'll be right back. So they tested it for mono and for strep. And they said that it came back negative for both. So I was like, okay. So they were like, it's sometimes the test is faulty, like sometimes it can be a false negative. So we're still gonna give you an antibiotic for strep. So I was like, okay. I started taking it right away. And within 24 hours, things had gotten so much worse. Like I honestly can barely remember because I was between bed and the bathroom. Like that was it. I was barely conscious, like to be honest. I was in so much pain. My whole throat was starting to hurt. It was just absolutely terrible. My parents were so nervous because I was not looking good. We were all obviously really scared that it was coronavirus, but I didn't have any symptoms of coronavirus. So that's why we were kind of all like, okay, this is weird. Okay, eyebrows are done. I'm gonna just wipe away this powder. Anyway, so continuing on, Tuesday night, my mom brought me to the emergency room because I was just not getting any better. I was actually really scared because I couldn't eat at this point. I was drinking a lot of water, and no matter how much water I drank, my urine was still really dark, which if you know, if your urine's clear, it means you're really hydrated. And when it's dark, it means you're dehydrated or something's really wrong. That was kind of when I was like, all right, we need to go to the ER. So we show up and of course it's Corona time, like everything is crazy, hospitals are scary. We called ahead first. I told them what my symptoms were and they said as soon as I get there, I'm gonna go to this tent that's outside of the hospital and then I'm gonna be screened for Corona. And they're gonna make sure that I'm not, you know, they're gonna kind of decide where I need to go in the hospital, whether I even need to go in the hospital at all. So I go into this tent and they ask me a bunch of questions. They take my vitals and everything, like my blood pressure, all that stuff. And then eventually a doctor comes in and he asks me a bunch of questions. And then finally they decide that I do need to be brought into the hospital. So I was a little scared at this point because I knew that that probably meant that something was wrong. They take me into the hospital and they bring me into my own little room, which was good, where I got some blood work done. I saw so many doctors, so many nurses. So it was really good that I did write down on my phone all of my symptoms that I was having, just so that I could repeat it over and over again to like a bunch of different doctors. Especially because whenever I'm sick and they're asking me like, oh, how do you feel? Like, what are all your symptoms? I tend to forget because I mean, I have the worst memory and I feel so under pressure to like remember everything that I just forget everything. So after seeing a bunch of doctors, getting a bunch of blood work done, I got hooked up to an IV. They decide that they need to do a CAT scan on my neck to make sure that like these are obviously just lymph nodes, just so they can see what's going on. So I go and I get the scan done, which getting a CAT scan I've never done before, so it was a little bit scary. They just put you in this really loud machine and you basically go in and out of it and it takes pictures of you, kind of like an x-ray but like a little bit more extreme. And so once I got that done, they put me in a little bed and they wheeled me out and I was just put up against the wall in the ER. I could hear a bunch of people like screaming that wanted to get out of the ER, and then of course there was like the Corona ward on the other side of me and there were Corona patients in there. It was a very terrifying atmosphere. Like I could tell that all the doctors and nurses were really stressed. I was really stressed. And at this point I was like in tears because it was just a lot. It was a lot. I feel really bad for the people obviously who have worse things going on and have to stay in the hospital for long periods of time. But I was just very overwhelmed. So I actually put in my headphones and I started playing K-Bye for Now from start to bottom, and I was just pretending like I was at the Sweetener tour. And then finally someone came over and got me and they told me that they were bringing me for a second CAT scan. So immediately I knew that that was not good. I was like, oh my God, this can't be good. If they're bringing me for a second one, that must mean they found something. So I was trying not to panic and they went and did a second CAT scan. This time they did one of like my lower part of my body, my abdominal area. They do the scan and then I go back, they wheel me back to the same spot up against the wall, just kind of chilling in the middle of the ER. Of course, I just have to say like every doctor and every nurse that I had was so nice and they were being so patient considering all that they're going through. So I obviously just want to give a huge shout out to like medical staff right now. If any of you guys at home watching this are an essential worker of any kind, not even just the medical field, but thank you for toughing this all out for us. So again, a couple hours go by and I get my results back and they say that my liver is enlarged and my kidneys, I think they said. And so of course I was really scared and I'm like, well, what does that mean? And they said, well, normally that's something that happens when you have mono. They did tell me that they tested me for mono, but it came back negative, but they said that they were still gonna kind of treat it as mono. So they gave me a steroid in my IV, which helped all of the swelling go down in my neck. As soon as I left the hospital, I felt a lot better because I was like, okay, well, they told me I have mono, so at least there's like a diagnosis. At least I kind of have it narrowed down and it will end eventually. You know, I know that I'm not not dying. So I go home from the hospital that night. I didn't really sleep much. I hadn't been sleeping much. So the next day I woke up feeling a lot more optimistic until I got a call from the hospital. I got a call from the hospital around like probably 10 a.m. and it was from somebody who was in the department where they do the scans and where they review the images after the CAT scans. The phone call went a little something like, he called and said, "Hi, Amber, this is such and such calling from whatever department." And he said, you know, as we were looking over your CAT scan from last night, we had something that we call an incidental find, which is where, you know, we find something we're not exactly looking for, and we found an aneurysm in your brain. So of course at this point the conversation, like, I didn't hear anything that he said after that. My dad had come in at this point because he saw my face from the hallway, and he came right in and I put it on speaker and I just held the phone up, and he was basically saying that it's not an emergency, but I should go get an MRI like as soon as I can. Then, you know, he said, "Do you have any questions?" And I was like, "No." And then I hung up and I immediately like was in hysterics because I was like, what is an aneurysm? Like what? So of course, immediately my mom gets on the phone with some people that we know. My mom used to work in the medical field. Now she's disabled. She has lupus and she just can't work anymore. But she used to work in the medical field. She has a lot of friends that are doctors and nurses. So she called right away trying to get me in to be seen. So I did go in and get seen in my doctor's office, and she basically gave me like a lot of hope that I was gonna be okay. She told me that the aneurysm is only 2 millimeters long on my brain, and it's in like the lower part because they could only see like the lower part of my brain. I need to get this makeup done because this is like taking so long. But basically she said it's nothing to worry about and that she wants me to focus on getting better before I go to another doctor's office to get more testing done. So we left the office that day feeling a lot better. In fact, that night I ate a full meal, and that was the last full meal I ate for weeks. I was feeling so good, and then later that night I got extremely sick. Like it took a turn for the worst. It was so bad. Okay, really quickly, I'm gonna just do my liquid liner off camera and I will be right back. Okay, so that is the winged liner. I'm gonna continue on. That night I got extremely worse. I was actually physically ill, like throwing up everything that was in my stomach. It was so nasty. So that's when I started getting really nervous because I was like, this is not normal. Like, what is wrong? Of course, from here on out, I was keeping in very close touch with my doctor. I was talking to her almost every single day, kind of updating her on my symptoms, telling her what was going on. For the next few weeks, I was just really miserable. I was at my worst point that I had been at. And finally, just a few days ago, I went to go see a specialist. He put a camera like up my nose, down my throat, and he was able to see into my throat. And he told me that the reason why I'm in so much pain is because there is a lot of pus in my throat and there are ulcers in my throat. He said they're just like little holes all through my throat. So he prescribed me with an antibiotic, a bunch of pain meds, and sent me on my way. So from leaving the specialist, I realized that it was not in fact mono that I was sick with. Basically, if I had gotten an antibiotic sooner, I would have been better way sooner. So that was really fun. And I'm just so relieved that that is over. But that's basically it. I have been super ill. Unfortunately, this all kind of started, like the downward spiral started on merch launch day. So my merch release day was a little bit of a letdown because I wasn't able to celebrate and do a lot of the things that I had planned, but you guys still made it so special. Thank you to everyone who has my merch. I'm so excited that I've been seeing pictures of people online wearing my merch. Like, that is crazy to me. I never in a million years thought that I would have my own business, you know, and it was always my dream, and now here we are. So I just hope it inspires you guys to follow your dreams and do whatever you want, because you can so succeed as long as you're putting your mind to it and not letting anyone stop you. You are gonna be golden. You're gonna go wherever you wanna go. So I'm almost done with this makeup. I just have a few more steps. The main attraction of her eyes is the winged liner, and again, my wings are never really like the best because I don't really love winged eyeliner on me. It's not my favorite. The process of doing winged liner is so stressful for me. I don't enjoy doing it very much. But yeah, that's basically it that's been going on. I mean, I've done nothing but sit in my bed for 3 weeks. I've watched tons of movies. I am reading the Harry Potter series though. A lot of you guys know that. I started rereading the books. And actually today, I was supposed to be leaving for Orlando to go to Universal and experience Harry Potter World for the first time with my best friend Donald, and rest in peace. Sadly, we are not going on that trip because of Corona, but we're gonna replan it for maybe the end of the year if it's safe to travel. If not, we're gonna go in the near future. But we both are like huge Harry Potter stans and like are obsessed with Harry Potter. Okay, the eyes are almost done. I just gotta go do some mascara real quick. I'm trying to think of what else I could update you guys on. I mean, I really have not been doing much. Oh, I'm on TikTok now, so if you guys want to go follow me on TikTok, I will leave that right there for you. I've become obsessed with TikTok. It was one of those things that I said I would never download and never take part in, but now here we are. I'm almost at 3,000 followers on there, so I'm super excited about that. I'm probably gonna go make like a Stuck With You TikTok after I finish filming this video. Okay, so I'm backing up a little bit for the hair part of this video. But basically, Ari has her hair in a half up, like some pieces hanging down in the front. So I'm gonna try to figure out how to do this. I'm just gonna speed through this part, I think. I don't know. All right, that'll have to do. Okay, so this is what we got so far. I feel like I could have made the ponytail a little bit thicker, but you know, I'm not a professional, so.